Morning Tucson starts right now.
Now on GMT, thousands of classrooms will be empty today as teachers across the state go on strike. What's next and how it's impacting your kids? We have team coverage this morning as Governor Doug Ducey continues to push his plan to raise teacher pay, how state legislators are responding to the plan as teachers prepare to head to Phoenix for the rally. We'll have Jennifer Martinez and Kevin Boughton coming up for you shortly. Good morning, Tucson, and a happy Thursday to you. I'm Whitney Clark. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, our big story this morning, hundreds of thousands of kids will not be in school as teachers begin their walkout for more school funding. Arizona educators begin their strike today, and up to 50,000 people are expected to march to the state capitol. This comes despite Governor Doug Ducey's plan for a 20% teacher pay raise by 2020. Now, organizers of the Red for Ed movement say Ducey's plan doesn't address stable school funding and other demands. Now, here in southern Arizona, more than a dozen school districts will be closing for the walkouts. That includes Tucson Unified, Marana, Sahuarita, Catalina Foothills, Sunnyside, Benson, AM5 Public Schools, Douglas, Sierra Vista Unified, Santa Cruz Valley, Nogales, Flowing Wells, Tanque Verde, and Vail. Now, some districts will also be closed tomorrow. Others are still waiting to make a decision. Well, Tucson teachers are getting ready to head up to Phoenix for that rally with a goal in mind: change in the education system. 9 on your side's Jennifer Martinez joins us live from a congregation near 5th and Craycroft. Jennifer, now this isn't the only place where teachers will be leaving from this morning, correct?
That's right, Whitney. There are various locations throughout Tucson where teachers will be leaving. Here at the Jewish Temple on 5th and Craycroft, they're going to be leaving about 8:30 this morning. There's going to be at least more than 100 teachers coming here. And yes, it is an empty parking lot, but it will be a jam-packed parking lot come 8:30 this morning. So what is it that teachers are demanding? Well, educators want a 20% raise for all teaching and certified staff. The governor proposed a raise, but it didn't include all staff. For example, counselors and special ed teachers. They also want competitive wages to retain teachers. Educators are asking to return school funding to 2008 levels, which means decreasing class sizes and better resources, and yearly raises until Arizona teacher salary reaches the national average, which averages about $58,000 a year. KGUN 9 spoke to one teacher, and she says she wouldn't have voted to walk out of classrooms, but change needs to take place.
However, now that it's here and the momentum's going, I'm definitely here to support it and feel like this is the momentum we need in Arizona to get something done. More educational support in all the classrooms, finances for the kids, smaller classrooms, finances for support staff, just a value to education in general, and for teacher pay.
And Whitney, as I mentioned, the bus here at the temple is set to leave at 8:30, and it is quiet and it is empty, but educators are coming together here in Tucson and Phoenix throughout the state for this historic day in Arizona. Whitney.
Thank you, Jennifer. Well, we know the demands from educators, so how is the governor and legislators responding to them? Now, joining us this morning is KGUN 9 on your side's Kevin Boughton, who is live on the way to Phoenix right now. So, Kevin, what can you and what should we be able to expect today at the state capitol?
Whitney, good morning. It's going to be big. They, Red for Ed folks say anywhere between 20,000 and 50,000 people are expected downtown today, and that's a big gap between 20 and 50, but even if it's on the low end, the Capitol grounds are going to be wall to wall with folks in red shirts. They're going to gather at Chase Field, a couple miles away from the Capitol, and march down to the Capitol. There is a formal program with a podium and speakers. That'll start at 1:30. And then there are more speakers after that all the way up until about 4:30. And of course, this being Arizona, it's going to land on the hottest day of the year. Real quick though, I want to show you something. We're on I-10 near Sackatone, and this is what Big Al has been talking about all morning. This is the crash. So if you're sitting at home and you think, oh, I'm just going to drive myself up to Phoenix, maybe give yourself some extra time to prepare for this drive, because we have been stuck in stop and go traffic for about 25 minutes now. Whitney?
Traffic update, definitely important for people. So we heard from Jennifer the demands from the educators in our area. How is the governor and legislators responding to this morning?
Well, these Republican lawmakers, including Governor Ducey, are digging in. We've heard, like we heard at 5:30, the governor is sticking with his 20% raise by 2020 plan. Senate President Steve Yarbrough came out yesterday with a plan that said Senate Republicans are ready to get to work and pass this 20% by 2020 plan. So it seems like that's the plan from Republicans in Phoenix at the state capitol. Whether or not that holds through the budgeting process, we will see. But for now, it seems like 20% by 2020 is what they're offering, and it could be what teachers end up getting, even despite the strike. But this is Arizona, and it's Arizona politics. It is as unpredictable as it can be. Whitney?
Okay, thank you so much, Kevin. We will be checking in with him throughout the day as well. Now, as all of this unfolds, some parents may be scrambling to find daycare for their children. Now, if you are a parent and don't know where to bring your kid, there are some free options for you. Victory Worship Center near Flowing Wells is taking in 1,100 kindergarten through 6th graders for a free day camp. Now, Southside Presbyterian Church and the John Valenzuela Youth Center are offering a free day of camp for K through 5th graders. They are each taking in about 50 students. Also, Pima County libraries have some activities for students, and the City of Tucson's KidCo program will be offered all day at certain recreation centers for $5. Now, for a detailed list or how to register for one of these options, you can head to kgun9.com. The Community Food Bank also helping families. Now, food will be available for people at the Flowing Wells, Los Ranchitos, Palo Verde, and Southwest Family Resource Centers. Grijalva Elementary and the Wakefield Family Resource Center will also have food available. Now, we have been following this story. We will continue to follow this big story all day and be posting updates and stories on our website. You can also follow us on social media as we have live coverage throughout the day and how it's impacting your kids. Well, a new bill in the state legislature could change how much it costs to register your car, why the lawmakers say the increase is necessary, and what kinds of cars it will affect. Plus, this weekend, you can clean out your medicine cabinet where you can dump the drugs. It is 6:06. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side. Welcome back now at 6:09. A new bill could get rid of a massive incentive for people to use electric cars. It would affect regular cars in Arizona too. Now, if it's passed, the bill will raise annual registration fees by $18 on regular cars and trucks. And for electric cars, a massive increase. The annual registration fee would go up from $41 to about $410. Now, each year this bill would raise more than $140 million. That money would go to the funds for the State Highway Patrol. Marana police and DEA agents will be at a local Target this Sunday. They'll be on hand to take any old or expired prescription medications. Studies show prescription medications are getting into our water supply. One of the reasons why is because old pills are being flushed in the toilet. Sewage treatment and filtration systems aren't able to take the meds out either. Now, if you go, it's from 10 until 2 Saturday at the Target on Ina and Thornydale. We're just learning this morning the White House doctor Ronny Jackson has withdrawn his nomination for VA secretary. The accusations from former colleagues and what lawmakers are saying now. Plus, Kanye West's recent political tweets have some shaking their heads. Why the rapper now is supporting President Donald Trump.
Strong winds about to blow back into the forecast, bringing on some changes. We'll go over the details coming up at 6:10. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side.
Checking in around the nation this morning now at 6:14. Veterans Administration nominee Dr. Ronny Jackson has withdrawn his name to run the second largest federal department. That's some new information into our newsroom this morning. Now, recent accusations of professional misconduct and drunken behavior came to light after President Trump put Jackson's name in the ring. Jackson was accused of drinking on the job, crashing a government car while drunk, and abusing his prescription writing privilege. President Trump will host a group of wounded, ill, and injured veterans today at the White House. It's all part of the Wounded Warrior Project's Soldier Ride, a bike ride that encourages vets to push themselves beyond their comfort zones. George W. Bush started the tradition in 2008. Trump has welcomed the group before and last year called them, quote, the real heroes. Well, it's a make-or-break day for the embattled Environmental Protection Agency chief. Scott Pruitt will testify before 2 House committees. It's open to the public, and leaders are expected to question him about his excessive spending on travel and that apartment he rented so cheaply from the wife of an energy lobbyist. Pruitt faces nearly a dozen federal inquiries. Talks between President Trump's team and special counsel Robert Mueller are picking up again this morning. The newest Trump lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, is pushing Mueller to end his investigation. CNN reports Giuliani met Mueller yesterday and that their negotiations aren't done. Now, according to the Washington Post, Giuliani asked when the investigation would be over. It also reports Mueller told Giuliani that interviewing Trump is crucial to ending the probe. Well, Michael Cohen, personal attorney for President Donald Trump, filed court papers indicating he would plead the 5th against self-incrimination. It's regarding his involvement in a hush money deal involving adult film star Stormy Daniels and the president. Cohen filed the declaration as part of an effort to have a civil lawsuit filed by Daniels put on hold because of the criminal investigation in New York. President Trump apparently has a new friend on Twitter. Rapper Kanye West defended a picture of himself wearing a Make America Great Again hat. Some fans were criticizing his support of the president, but West was back on Twitter, sticking by the commander-in-chief, saying, quote, "The mob can't make me not love him." President Trump responded to Kanye, thanking him for the support.
Now, KGUN 9 on your side first warning weather with meteorologist April Madison.
Good morning. Check this out. This video is actually from a Texas radar showing where those arrows are right there. You can see a little bit of just little green blips moving towards Fort Worth, Texas. Not wind, not rain. Certainly not UFOs. Yeah, that's a flock of birds. The cold weather coming to a close. So many bird species are actually heading back north for the summer. The National Weather Service radar caught some of that migration as it's happening. Apparently, we all know it is normal to see giant flocks around this time of year, and they've been doing this for years. They don't always pop up on the radar, but sometimes we see things even when we know there is no weather imminent, and you're thinking, what could that be? Sometimes it's ground clutter, it can be dust, but in that particular case, it was a flock of birds. It's kind of cool to see there. Often as the sun rises, we see our coolest temps of the morning. And yes, that's happening. We have just enough clearing from that little bit of cloud cover out there. It has dropped temps now that the sun is up. 62 at the airport, or at the east side here, and 63 at the airport. But you see these kind of high wispy clouds. They're going to stick around off and on throughout the day. We'll see a good mix of clouds and sun moving up from the south, southwest, kind of crossing over towards the east. That blanket of clouds right there pushing into Pima County. So at times we'll get more sun, and other times we'll see a little bit more cloud cover. Temperature-wise, not going to do much to keep our highs down. Maybe a degree or two in some locations, but still a lot of mid to upper 80s and a lot of low to mid and even upper 90s in some locations. We've been talking about the heat in Phoenix today. If you got 97 in Ajo, 94 in Tucson, Phoenix looking to see its first 100 today. So it is going to be so far the hottest day of the season. Wind will be a little bit of a story. Look at this wave. It kind of comes in, this yellow, orange, and red wave that just kind of moves into the early morning hours, and then by, I'd say, late to mid-morning, we're going to start seeing our sustained winds going up slightly, but the wind gusts will be a little higher into the 30s. This is kind of the winds of change upon us. This is the start of it. It's not going to be too bad. We'll see even a little bit of a break as we move into Saturday, but then Sunday into next week, those winds really pick up, and that's what's going to affect our temperatures, all based on a weather system to our north. So we're staying about 10 degrees above average today. We get back to average by Monday with that 86, and then plummet about 10 degrees below average by Wednesday of next week, expecting to hit about 77. After that, we could rebound back up, so a little bit too soon to tell for sure, but we are expecting a much cooler, breezy week next week with those 70s and 80s for the majority of the week. Big Al?
April 6/19, for whatever reason, if you're heading to Phoenix, Red for Ed, Sky Harbor, visiting friends, no school, whatever the reason, got a problem up here on the way to Phoenix. This is north of Casa Grande, starting around McCartney Road, up towards Sackatoon and the rest stop, which, by the way, is closed. Probably could have had it open today because of all the slowing that we have here. Stay to the right to get through. Here's a look at what videographer Jim Falzer took on the way up with Kevin Boughton to our state capitol. There's the wreck off to the left side of the roadway, not blocking, but look at this. It is a mess, and a stay right advisory, even though both travel lanes are open, it is still very, very slow. Probably an extra 20, 30 minutes or so. If you're going to catch a flight at Sky Harbor, I'd leave now. Wouldn't mess around with this. That's the latest from our First Warning Traffic. Athletic Center.
Thank you, Big Al. Well, car buyers these days love their SUVs, and Ford is listening to you. The cars the motor company is getting rid of, and is your favorite sticking around? Plus, Subway is getting rid of a huge chunk of stores, but adding close to 1,000 more. We'll explain where and why. It's 6:20. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side. In your Consumer Watch this morning, now at 6:22, for the first time since the Cambridge Analytica scandal surrounding Facebook and its data, the social network is talking money, and revenues are apparently up for the company. Facebook says its quarterly revenue rose nearly 50% to just shy of $12 billion compared to a year ago.
And this morning, Ford is planning to get rid of most of its cars. The only passenger car model it plans to keep on market in North America will be the Mustang and the upcoming Ford Focus Active. That means the Fiesta, Taurus, Fusion, and the regular Focus will disappear in the U.S. and Canada. However, Ford will continue to offer its full gamut of trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. This is Ford's plan to cut costs since many of the sedan models have become unpopular with consumers.
Subway is closing more U.S. stores while expanding internationally. The chain says it will shut down 500 stores this year on the heels of hundreds of closures over the last 2 years. Subway currently has about 26,000 locations in the U.S. It's launching a new loyalty program, remodeling stores to look sleeker and adding touch-screen kiosks for ordering. Meanwhile, the chain plans to add more than 1,000 stores in Britain, Germany, and Asia.
I love Subway. Also love Chipotle, and the new boss at Chipotle has some changes in mind. CEO Brian Nichols says he wants to tweak the menu, redesign restaurants, offer more options for deliveries, and maybe even open drive-through windows at certain locations. This is Chipotle's latest attempt to recover after a 2015 E. coli outbreak that sent sales plunging.
Well, if you know a kid over 7, your son isn't quite 7 yet, but he probably knows how to use YouTube and likes it.
Yes.
Well, after complaints that inappropriate content was making its way through their kid's app, YouTube decided to tweak it. The new program will give parents not algorithms, but the right to choose what their children watch. The update comes out today.
Love that. And Amazon unveiled a kid-friendly version of its Echo Dot smart speaker powered by voice assistant Alexa. The Echo Dot Kids Edition plays music and answers questions, but the answers are tailored to a child audience. For example, if a kid asks if Santa Claus is real, Alexa dodges the question for some reason, saying she hasn't met him and is curious about Rudolph's nose, which we all know is red. The new device is likely to prompt concerns about privacy. However, an Amazon spokeswoman emphasized that it only listens for the wake word Alexa.
So we apologize if your Alexa just went off right now. What happens?
Yeah,
sometimes.
if we keep saying Alexa.
Well, I'm going to keep saying it because we have another Alexa story. Politeness is going to count when it comes to talking to Alexa. Amazon says after an update next month, Alexa will thank kids who ask questions nicely. The update is called Free Time for Alexa. It will also include parental controls that will block kids from making voice purchases and filter explicit lyrics from songs.
Smart.
Good things on the lyrics, and also, you know, you hear all these stories about somebody randomly gets $17,000 worth of, what are those games you can play, like Candy Crush? Like you can buy
yes.
all kinds of crazy stuff. So
yeah,
that's probably good news for parents.
It's fantastic news. Anything that's a blocking tool for, you know, evil or purchases is brilliant on all levels.
Yeah. Well, with the majority of school districts closed for the rest of the week, some parents are scrambling to find childcare. Now, many groups and businesses in the Tucson area are stepping up to fill the gap. We'll tell you some of the places you can send your child for free. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side.
And teachers across Tucson heading up north to Phoenix, demanding change in their classrooms. What they're asking for up next. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side.
Good Morning Tucson starts right now.
Now on GMT, the statewide educator strike is set to begin this morning. Why they say the state needs to raise teacher pay and increase school funding. This morning, we have team coverage as Governor Doug Ducey continues to push his plan to raise teacher pay. We have Jennifer Martinez and Kevin Bowden, who will both be joining us live. We'll have more on how state legislators are responding to the plan as teachers prepare to head up to Phoenix for a rally. Good morning to you, Tucson. A happy Thursday to you. I'm Whitney Clark. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll get right to our big story this morning. Tucson teachers will be heading up to Phoenix to take part in the teacher rally with one goal in mind: change in the education system. 9 on your side's Jennifer Martinez joins us live from a congregation on 5th and Craycroft with more about what's going on this morning. Jennifer, this isn't the only place they'll be leaving from.
Good morning, Whitney. No, it's not the only place that they're going to be leaving from. They're going to be leaving from different spots actually in Tucson, and there's going to be at least 1,000 Tucson teachers heading to Phoenix to demand change in their classrooms. Now, educators have a list of demands that they're asking for, beginning with a 20% raise for all teaching and certified staff, competitive wages, yearly raises until the national average is met. Jason Freed, president of the Tucson Educators Association, says Arizona kids have been shortchanged by $1 billion, and Arizonans are tired of it.
Average computer is 12 years old in TUSD, and so that means that a high school senior right now, that computer was purchased when he was in kindergarten. Those kinds of things are truly unfair for our kids, and we can't wait to see maybe next time, maybe next time. This governor says he's the education governor. If he wants to be the education governor, he's going to have to step forward and find the funding.
And this morning, as I mentioned, more than 1,000 Tucson teachers will be heading to the state capitol. The bus will be leaving here on 5th and Craycroft at 8:30 this morning. And Whitney, it looks a little empty right now, this parking lot, but we can expect it to be jam-packed by 8:30 when that bus leaves. Whitney, back to you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Well, also on the way to Phoenix this morning is 9 on your side's Kevin Boughton. We're joining him live in the car right now. Now, Kevin, before we get to the real issues, you said that there was some traffic delays that might be impacting people if they are heading up there this morning. What's it looking like now?
Yeah, we're through that. It took us about 20-25 minutes to get through that. It's on I-10 heading up to Phoenix, right about the Sackatone rest area. So if you're planning to come up to Phoenix from Tucson or Casa Grande or any point south, plan a little extra time in your travel day to account for that. But it was in the clearing stages when we went through, so hopefully by the time folks at home get to it, it's not that bad. Right now we're in Phoenix and I-10 and Ray Road. Clear sailing right now. So Whitney, what these teachers are going to experience and see when they get to the Capitol is going to be something like we've never seen before in Arizona. They're going to gather and rally outside Chase Field and then march to the state Capitol. It's about 2 miles through downtown Phoenix. It's the opposite path that protesters took when they marched during the SB 1070 rallies in 2010. So they're kind of retracing, backtracking through history. We expect this rally to be significantly larger than the SB 1070s rally, Whitney. There will be speakers and podiums, speeches that start at about 1:30 this afternoon, and that will last until about 4:30 through the hottest part of the day. So if you're coming, bring water, sunscreen, a hat. It's Arizona in late April. I think we all know the drill about how to stay safe, Whitney.
Yeah, it's supposed to be about 100 degrees up there today, Kevin. So we've heard sort of the demands from teachers, educators, what they want. What exactly is the governor's office saying this morning? What are we hearing from state legislators?
So about 2 weeks ago, the governor rolled out his 20% raise by 2020 plan, and they're sticking to it. They say that's the plan they're going to bring to the legislature. That's the plan they're going to push through the legislature as we go through the state budgeting process. So it seems like both sides have dug in. The state Senate President, Steve Yarbrough, who's from Chandler, said that he and other Senate Republicans are ready to pass this plan. Senator Shope, who is the TJ Shope, who's a legislator from the Pinal County area, said he is ready to pass this plan. So we're going to see what happens. Democrats say they are taking the side of the teachers and their demands. But Whitney, I think as we know, this is Arizona and Arizona politics. And so really anything can happen as we get up to the final days of the legislative session.
Okay, thank you so much, Kevin. Busy day ahead. We'll be checking in with you much more, and we will also be posting updates throughout the day on our website. You can also find us on our social media pages, like on Facebook. We'll have live coverage at the Capitol today. Well, churches and organizations in our area are stepping up to help out parents this morning, where you can keep your kids safe for free during the walkout. Plus, we're on verdict watch on the Cosby trial this morning, the clarification the jury got from the judge last night. It is 6:35. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side. Welcome back. Now the time is 6:38. If you are a parent and you don't know where to bring your kid today during the teacher walkout, there are some free options for you. Now, Victory Worship Center near Flowing Wells is taking in 1,100 kindergarten through 6th graders for a free day camp. Southside Presbyterian Church and the John Valenzuela Youth Center are offering a free day of camp for K through 5th graders, and they are each taking in about 50 students. Now, the Pima County libraries have some activities for students as well. The City of Tucson's KidCo program will be offered all day at certain recreation centers for $5. Now, for a detailed list or how to register for one of these options, you can head to kgun9.com. Well, it was the first home playoff game for the Roadrunners last night, and they did not disappoint. Post-game coverage from the Tucson Arena coming up. April?
And we have a very bright moon this morning. We'll tell you when it's going to be officially full coming up in just a few minutes. Whitney?
But first, there are new concerns this morning over the ability for popular smart speakers to spy on you. ABC's Kendis Gibson has the details in today's GMA First Look. Checking in around the world this morning now at 6:44. Today, history will be made on the Korean Peninsula. The leaders of the North and South Korea will meet after the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un walks across the border. The two leaders will plant a tree together, and Kim will inspect an honor guard. The talks are expected to focus largely on North Korea's nuclear program and maybe about finally and formally ending the Korean War. Authorities believe they have arrested the so-called Golden State Killer. Sacramento's district attorney announced Joseph James D'Angelo as the suspected serial killer. They believe he committed 12 killings and at least 50 rapes across California from 1976 to 1986.
We found the needle in the haystack, and it was right here in Sacramento.
According to Ventura County's district attorney, he was arrested after police matched discarded DNA evidence from his Sacramento area home with genetic evidence from the crimes. He was fired from the Auburn Police Department in California in 1979 after being charged with shoplifting. The 72-year-old is being held without bail in Sacramento County Jail on 2 murder charges. A new memorial for peace and justice opens today in Alabama. The 6-acre site overlooking Montgomery, and the art installed there is a tribute to the victims of racial terrorism. This installation you see here includes 800 suspended steel rectangles, one for each U.S. county where a lynching occurred. The founder hopes people will, quote, see the pain, but we also want them to see the humanity and the capacity to endure. Well, the jury in the Bill Cosby sexual assault retrial will begin deliberating for a second day. The panel of 7 men and 5 women worked towards a verdict for 10 hours yesterday. The jury asked the judge to read back prior testimony. That's when the entertainer's lead lawyer nodded off. Cosby is facing 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault. Well, take a look at this, caught on camera. A scary what would you do moment. You can see a robber pointing a gun around the store. The guy in the cowboy hat, the cashier, tackles him. Then other people in the store all get in on this. Now, this was at a butcher shop in Monterrey, Mexico. The robber, as you saw, dropped the gun, and the store employees all helped to wrestle him. Well, check this out. A North Carolina kayaker was rescued after he got stuck on a river. The man was stuck against logs and other debris near Charlotte. Firefighters ended up using a ladder to get rope to the partially submerged man to keep him from going under. Then they used a boat to get him to safety. The kayaker was loaded into an ambulance and taken to the hospital with minor injuries.
Now, KGUN 9 on your side first warning weather with meteorologist April Madison.
Good morning. Just about a quarter till 7, actually 6:47, a little beyond a quarter till 7. We're getting up there. It's going fast. We do have a little bit of a blanket of clouds, kind of these high wispy clouds, if you will, not packing a lot of moisture, but they are definitely keeping temps just a little bit warmer this morning. I think yesterday we managed to dip just briefly to the upper 50s, but the clouds have kept us a little warmer than that this morning. We did get down to the low 60s, but that's where we are right now. We'll likely go up from there. We do have some 40s and 50s though across Cochise County. Not going to stay cool though, so enjoy it while it lasts. This is going to be still another very hot day, even with that mix of sun and clouds. 94 the high today, almost 10 degrees above that average of 85. There's where the clouds are coming from, really from the south. High pressure is starting to kind of set up in that area that we typically see when we start moving into our monsoon pattern, that subtropical high that starts to move south. This right now, not that subtropical high, but the direction of it is where we start to see that happening as we move into May and June. So that's the reason why we're not pulling a whole lot of moisture out of it yet. That could change though a little bit later on Friday, but most likely any sort of moisture we see is going to stay east of us and over the higher elevations. What we might also see is this sort of blanket of wind that's going to move in, but mainly during the morning hours. This will be more of a morning event and less of an afternoon event. We'll see some breezy winds is what we'll call it when it comes to sustained winds. Not too bad. The wind gusts will be the bigger weather issue with the wind on Friday morning. It'll be gusting possibly as high as 35 miles per hour, and then it'll move out. We'll see more of a down day on Saturday with the wind, which will be nice. It'll still be very warm into the weekend, but we will see that wind returning next week. As far as our skies, looking pretty nice if you want to get out and enjoy the next full moon. It happens on Sunday just before 6 p.m. It's also known as the pink moon, which represents our first spring flowers. Usually they are pink. They kind of blanket the ground with that pink, and that's why it's called the pink full moon. And again, nice viewing weather to see that. We're not expecting a lot of rain this far south. The skies might be a little blanketed with clouds, but rain chances really expected to stay mainly east and over the mountain zones Friday into Saturday. Eventually, though, another round of wind will bring on the cool down. We'll not only get the 80s back, but possibly even seeing the 70s by Wednesday of next week. Big Al?
April 6:49. Let's get right to it. Westbound Interstate 10 is restricted right north of McCartney Road in Casa Grande up toward the Sackatone rest stop. Look at the slowing that we have here because of a multi-vehicle wreck a little earlier this morning. It was 20 minutes. Actually, it was 30 minutes, then 20 as Kevin Boughton went through it. Now it's between 10 and 15. Here's a look at what we saw as they passed the wreck earlier this morning off to the left side of the roadway, but still very slow-moving travel there on the westbound freeway. If you're going to Phoenix, Red for Ed, Sky Harbor, whatever, you're going to have to leave a little earlier because if you're leaving now, you'll probably have an extra few minutes of delay time. Let's back to the map. I want to just show you one quick thing here. I wish we had the rest stop open, but it won't open until the 4th of July. You'll just pass by that rest stop. It's all closed. That's the latest from our First Warning Traffic Center.
Thank you, Big Al. Well, we knew it would be a whiteout, but we also got a shutout. The Roadrunners won their first ever home playoff game last night versus San Jose, and it was game 3 of their AHL playoff series. Now, in the first period, the Roadrunners jumped out to a 1-0 lead as Dylan Strome assisted on this Michael Bunting goal. Take a look at that. Now, the Roadrunners added 5 more unanswered goals to win 6-0, their largest margin of victory all season. Tucson now has a 2-1 series lead. They can win the series on Friday.
Our compete level was there throughout the full 60 minutes, and that's what you want to see. And when you get off the start that we got off to, obviously it enables you to play with a little bit more confidence.
It's a lot easier when you're playing with the puck the whole time. Everyone gets confidence. Everyone was feeling it and feeling good, and the bench is positive, and it's just we kind of kept rolling from there.
Big congratulations to them. Well, we'll have more after the break. It's 6:51. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side. Well, hundreds of thousands of kids will not be in school today in Arizona as teachers begin their scheduled walkout for more school funding. Arizona educators begin their strike today, and up to 50,000 people are expected to march at the state capitol. This comes despite Governor Doug Ducey's plan for a 20% teacher pay raise by 2020. Now, this morning, Governor Ducey is not giving up hope on a resolution. A spokesperson for the governor says he's been meeting with individual lawmakers and trying to strike a deal. As for the teachers, they say they won't go back to class until they get what they want. Now, pretty soon, Tucson teachers will be heading up to Phoenix to gather at the state capitol. 9 on your sides. Jennifer Martinez is joining us live to tell us more. Hey, Jennifer.
Well, good morning, Whitney. More than 100 teachers will be leaving from this area here on 5th and Craycroft. In total, more than 1,000 people in Tucson will be heading up north to Phoenix. Now, this is what they want. They have one goal. That's change inside of their classrooms. Educators have a list of demands beginning with 20% raise for all teaching and certified staff, competitive wages, yearly raises until the national average is met. And as I mentioned, they're going to be leaving here shortly. They're leaving at 8:30, and while it's an empty parking lot right now, it's going to be filled with hundreds of cars. Whitney, back to you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Gonna be a hot one out there, April.
Yeah, for Phoenix, likely maybe even the hottest day they've seen so far with triple digits expected. Yeah, they're gonna hit 100. Man, it's gonna be a hot day. Hot here too, but not quite that hot. 65. We also don't have the air quality alert going along with that triple digit heat. So some silver lining here in Tucson. Still very warm though, well above average. 94 today and tomorrow. We'll hold on to the 90s into the weekend, but we will eventually see a much breezier and cooler week ahead. Big Al?
April, let's take a look at my one big thing in addition to the Sackatone area up on the north end of Pinal County. This is my local issue this morning. Valencia Road between the area of Mission out toward the area of Camino de la Tierra. In particular, this stretch for westbound travel getting some repair, and right in the intersection, concrete work at Valencia and Cardinal. Westbound I-10 slowdowns are now between 5 and 10 minutes between Casa Grande and Sackatone from the earlier multi-vehicle wreck. That's the latest from our First Warning Traffic Center.
Thank you much, Big Al. Well, time is running out to vote for the Desert Museum as America's best zoo. This is a USA Today poll of all the zoos across the country. I think there's about 20 of them on the list. At last check, we're at about 4th place, but they've closed the leaderboard on the website because the results are coming soon. You can still vote, though. We've got the link on KGUN9.com. Get this, you guys. They recently opened up the Pack Rat Playhouse.
I want to see that.
I hear it's fun.
And the stingrays. I haven't seen the stingrays yet.
So they took my car and put it at the Desert Museum?
Yes, and they filled it with
Pack Rat
rats.
Playhouse. Yes. Well, they didn't need to fill it. The Pack Rats migrated.
It already looks like that.
Well, I mean, if it's not running anymore, might as well make a playhouse.
Oh, it runs. It ran just fine until the wiring got chewed.
Hasn't that not happened to all of us at least once?
Pack Rat Playhouse.
I think that's happened to everyone at least once, right?
What?
Not you yet?
What's happened?
Pack rats chewing up the wires.
That happened to me one time in Oregon, not in Arizona, from what I can recall.
Well, you're lucky.
It's happened twice to me and tore
in your house or your car?
In my car and my back porch patio furniture.
Oh yeah.
She
doesn't like those little rats. Leave them out at the Desert Museum. Go look at them out there. See you tomorrow.
Good morning, everyone.